Hi, Lindsay. Thanks so much for joining me on this podcast. How are you today?
Hi, good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And I remember we met at one of the charity events, and I was really inspired by your story about you overcoming cancer, as well as how you discovered passion for photography. So I wanted to learn more about your health journey, as well as how it led you to do the work that you do now.
Thank you. Yeah. So a little bit about me, I guess. I'm originally from New York City. I moved down to Miami about 15 years ago. I was an actor, singer, dancer in New York, always had a passion for the arts. But when I moved down here, I switched to marketing. And then in July of 2020, I actually it was June 2020, sorry, I felt a pain in my stomach. And for about 36 hours after that, I was like, okay, I feel like maybe I have like appendicitis or something. It was the height of COVID when hospitals were like the most terrifying place in the entire world to be. But I was like, I think I have to go get this checked out. So I went to the ER. I was in the hallway for about 16 hours with like people walking by in like hazmat suits, and it was absolutely terrifying. And then they discovered that I had a large tumor in my appendix, which is super random because it's like an appendix. Who needs one? It's like the most useless organ in the entire world. They did surgery and found that it had spread throughout my abdomen. And that basically started my very long journey with cancer. At the time, I had a 10-month-old daughter, and it was COVID, as said. So life was kind of crazy. But I do want to say I'm currently in remission. So that is wonderful. Um, and yeah, it's been a very interesting 4 years. So appendiceal cancer is actually 1 in a million. It's one of the rarest cancers out there. And then the type of cancer, the type of appendiceal cancer I have is called goblet cell. And that is, I think, only 10% of appendiceal cancer patients have that type of cancer. And so I'm like really the rarest of the rare. Of course, lucky me. So I've had to do three different, I don't want to say rounds of chemo because each round has, lots of rounds within them, but three different sessions of chemo over the last 4 years, stretching 3 to 6 months each. I've lost my hair twice. It's, as you can see, growing back in finally. So that's exciting. I've had 11 surgeries, many of them with, 10 to 15 day stays in the hospital. Um, Most of the surgeries that I had were actually done at Sloan Kettering in New York City because they have a specialist there. Since it's such a rare cancer, so many doctors don't actually know how to treat appendiceal cancer. It's treated like colorectal, um, mostly because there's actually not enough people that have this type of cancer. They didn't have enough research on it. So finding a specialist with my type of cancer was one of the most important things. I'm also seeing doctors out in Texas. So I have a really big team. I have a team here at UM as well. So I have three different teams around the country, and everyone kind of keeps a big eye on me. I'm 39 now. I was diagnosed at 35, so I'm young for cancer. I mean, unfortunately, we're finding a lot more young people are getting cancer these days. So that's a whole other thing, as you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been very difficult. A lot of people look at me and they see what I face and they're like, how are you doing that? Like, how are you literally not just like sitting in bed under the covers crying all day every day with everything that you've gone through? Um, and I don't know. Honestly, like I look at my daughter, I look at my husband, my family, my friends, and I know that I have to keep going for them. Like cancer is crazy because it's not just about the person that has it, but it's about their village as well. It's not just what I'm going through, but it's also how it's affecting everyone around me. And I always knew that I had to fight as hard and as much as possible for them because my family, my friends are everything to me. My daughter was my reason for fighting so hard. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the overview of what I've gone through in the last few years.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's it's important for people to focus on positive things in their life and just do what they can to overcome the challenge that they faced with. And I love that about you, that you just you knew you had to find people to help you and trust them that they can help you have a good team that's taking care of you, and focus on other things that because life goes on. And a lot of people, I feel like they kind of lose purpose in their life when they get sick. They just kind of give up. They just kind of accept it,
Right.
and they oftentimes they don't even like discover their passions. So I know you mentioned that you were doing marketing, and and you did a lot of artistic, like you have creativity in you. So what ultimately like inspired you to do photography, and when did that happen?
Yeah, so I've always loved photography. Like back in the day, I don't know, 25 years ago or something like that. I was always that person hanging out with my friends, taking photos and annoying them. And I think I was like 10 years old or something like that. I taught myself HTML. I made a website. I put all of my photos on this website, and then MySpace came around. And so everyone was like taking their photos from MySpace from my website. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is a thing that I can do and that I really enjoy. And then I just kind of did it for fun up until I got sick a few years ago. It was that kind of aha moment for me of like, if I make it through this, I'm going to do what I've always really wanted to do and become a photographer. I wanted to be able to. What I found is that with chemo, you get chemo brain. The fog is real. I also had my spleen removed. So I was getting sick more often. And when I was getting sick, it was very intense. So I felt like I had this fog all the time. And pictures for me were always that way of remembering a moment. And when I started losing so much of my memory, I was like, I want to keep these. How do I keep these? Okay, photography. I want to do this for myself. I want to capture my daughter so I don't forget her. I want to do it for other people so that they have these things that they can look back on as well. And did you ever find that like, someone's like, oh yeah, remember we did that? And you're like, no, I have no idea. And then they show you a photo from that night. You're like, oh yeah, it sparks that memory. So I want families to be able to look at those photos and have that rush of feeling of the love and the happiness and the reminders of when their kids were little and holding on to them and get all of those ooey gooey feelings. I want people to keep that forever. So I was doing chemo. It was during COVID. I bought myself a camera. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I hired a mentor and I practiced. And I started a business, and here I am almost 4 years later with a thriving photography business. I do maternity and newborn, seniors, engagements, literally anything you can imagine. And it's the most fun thing in the world because my office is the beach during sunset or a park, or I do have a studio. I built a studio in my garage, but that's what I get to do. And I get to hang out with new people from every different type of culture from everywhere in the world and meet smart people and wonderful people and help them create these special moments that they will have forever. So I love it. Like I'm one of those people where if you don't like your situation, change it. We all have the power to change it. We just have to have the courage to do it. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you may fail, but okay, try. And if you fail, try again or go back to what you were doing before. But my biggest pet peeve in life is when people complain about, oh, I wish I could do that, or I hate my job or this. And I'm like, okay, so do something about it. You can. I've done that multiple times in my life. And not every time it's worked out, but you keep trying until you make it work. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
definitely
that's
agree
how I
with you because oftentimes people, if the more you complain, the more you're gonna attract that into your life versus thinking of
right.
solutions and how what are the things you can do to change it. So you specialize in different things, like you said you do like a maternity, or you do kids. So do you also come up with ideas? Let's say somebody, they say, I would love for you to take pictures of my family. How do you come up with ideas? You come up with where they should meet you, you come up with all that
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. So I it's funny because I'm a very type A and type B personality. I really do have both. I'm extremely organized, and I came up with these brochures basically that, like, one's a location guide. So I visited 10 locations, took a bunch of pictures, and now I have it all mapped out for them. So they can be like, okay, where should we shoot? And I just say, look at my location guide and pick which one speaks to you. I have a wardrobe guide. So I, map it out for them of, okay, this is the type of thing that works and this is what doesn't. Let's communicate and figure that out together. I always ask people to send me inspirational photos, anything they saw on Pinterest or a friend or someone else's Instagram feed of, like, did you like that type of thing? And then, yeah, we kind of mold it together. And then there are so many sessions where, I think it's going to go a certain way. And then we get there and everything completely changes. And sometimes those are actually the most fun because that's when I really get to be an artist. It's like, okay, this park was closed. We have to go somewhere brand new that I've never been before. Let's figure it out together. Or the rain, or someone's dress breaks on the way over, so their outfits are messed up or something. It's always an adventure, but I love being creative, and doing, new things and going new places, and it's a lot of fun. It truly is. So yeah.
So on your website, people can basically fill out a form, and if they have, they need a specific photo shoot, but you can actually help them like figure out the ideas, the location, and give them like options to choose from. Because oftentimes I have no idea if I want pictures. I honestly don't even know like where to go, what to do, how to do it. But I like that you kind of help people clients figure that out with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a lot of people have said to me over the years that I am like the most organized photographer they've ever seen, and that they really appreciate all my PDFs and everything that I sent them to help kind of figure it out with them and, put their minds at ease. But yeah, I'm always super involved. So many people. I mean, me as a photographer, when I want my family photos done, I go to someone else and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. What do you think we should do? So I love being able to kind of, communicate with the person and be like, okay, so like, what are you into? What are your interests? Let's see if we can maybe tap into something like that. And it's a lot of fun to try and get to know the person and help create that perfect moment for them. So I make it really easy. I think that's so important because people get so overwhelmed, and you really need to spell it out for a lot of people with a lot of things. So if I can make it as easy as possible for them, I'm going to do that.
And which locations do you serve? Like, does it tell on your website? Uh,
Yeah, all of South Florida. I mean, I've gone as far as Kendall and as north as West Palm. So I live in Aventura,
uh-huh.
which is great because it's kind of in the middle of everything, I feel
Mhm.
like. But yeah, I'm all over. I shoot at North Hollywood Beach, I would say, most often. I have a secret little spot there that is very quiet and nice. So I'm there sometimes like 3 times a week, which is great. Getting to go to the beach 3 times a week and work. Oh no, how terrible. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I do mini sessions sometimes. Like I have my actually fall beach minis this Sunday, and then I have Christmas minis coming up next month. I don't do them often because they are intense, but sometimes I will do them.
And what would you say have been like some of your favorite photo shoots to do?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I don't
That
know. I
you,
have like it's tough because a lot of photographers, I will say, do not like shooting large families, like extended families, when they bring in all the cousins and the aunts and the uncles, because it can be kind of chaotic. I actually find that to be some of my favorite because it is chaotic and it's so many moving parts. And that's kind of when I find that I thrive because of my background in marketing and theater and everything. I'm a very good delegator, I guess, and kind of like figuring out the chaos and calming everything down. And so I thoroughly enjoy them because you get to know a lot of people and do a lot of fun things. But I mean, my favorite is, a lot of the time a pregnant mama maybe with her 3-year-old toddler running around with her and us getting in the water and just kind of, you know, being with nature and just living in the moment. And those are always like, the sweetest moments that really like make my heart sing at the end. That's when I get to feel the most at peace with nature and, the most creative. And yeah, it's very interesting, like having such an artistic background and always finding new and different ways to kind of expand upon that. I also own a jewelry company as well, so I'm always doing something creative. But I really love every photo shoot. It's very hard for me to pick favorites, honestly.
Wow. So, and how do people find you? You on like Instagram, your website, is that your name or?
Yeah. So my name is Lindsay Gottschall, but I was like workshopping that for a while, and everyone was like, "What's your name? How do you spell that?" So I went by my first and middle name, Lindsay Ann, and Lindsay with an A. So Lindsay Ann Photography is the name of my company. LindsayAnnPhoto.com is my website, and my Instagram is lindsay.ann.photo because someone else took the regular one. But yeah, I'm all over social media. So, and you'll always see me posting photos of my 5-year-old daughter because I'm obsessed and she's a model and she's amazing and beautiful and she's my inspiration. So you'll see her all over.
So, what would you say is the best way for people to reach you? Do they go to the website or Instagram, or what
Yeah,
is it?
either our website or Instagram. I think at this point I probably get more clients from Instagram, from people finding me on Instagram. But every now and then people will Google me or something like that and find me. But yeah, either one. Send an email, send me a DM, give me a call. Ride a horse and drop off a note at my door. Whatever works for you.
And what advice would you give to someone who may be trying to find things to do, like they maybe they have like how do you discover like what you want to do? Is that what makes you happy, like your passion? And what advice would you give to someone?
um, I'm very lucky that I have always had hobbies and passions and kind of known what I wanted to do. I've met so many people who don't really have that. And I'm always like, well, what if you could do anything right now? If someone handed you, $1 billion, what would you do with your life? And they're like, I don't know. So I always try and say to them, like, well, think about like when you were the happiest.
Oh yeah.
What were you doing when you had that best moment of your life type of thing? Was it that you were at a party? Were you at a wedding or at a sporting event? Or think of that moment and then hone in on that. Like, okay, I was at a party, so maybe I should do event planning. Kind of whatever that favorite part of you is, that's what you should work on, I guess. And honestly, like I know so many people that have had bad things happen to them in their lives, and it's a shame, but they let it kind of consume them. And I will not allow that to happen to me. And I don't think that others should let that happen to them. Look, it's one of those things where we're all fighting our own battles, like we all have bad things, but you cannot let the bad days win, truly. Like you have to just keep on keeping on. And I know it's tough. And every day getting out of bed when you're going through something horrible is a chore. But if you just make yourself do it, every day gets a little easier.
Yes, and also to tell yourself that you're gonna make it, that you gotta just overcome that this is just a phase or stage in your life, and maybe use it to just kind of like see what can I learn from it, how can I be strong, for my family, and what are the things I should be focusing on to like solve the problem, but also how I can continue living my life because I do agree we speak with a lot of people who are sick and oftentimes they just given up because they tried things that didn't work for them, or they just feel like, they can't get better. They feel like, uh, they just feel so defeated. And that's why I feel like looking for things that bring you joy, and in spite of challenges, that's what can help people overcome those things,
Right.
and not like basically like give up on life. And that's what I love about you, because you had big health problems, but you still looked into, what are the things I need to do to solve it, but also how can I continue living my life and doing the things that bring me joy. And
Right.
that's what I loved, when I heard your story at the event. I was really inspired by it, and you doing
Thank
something that makes you happy, and I think it really brings out in your photos, because people can feel that you love what you do, and you're gonna make the photos look so beautiful because you passionate about it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have heard from many people over the years that they're like, how are you as okay as you are? And I exactly, it's just you have to get through it. You can't let what is happening to you defeat you. And I really try and bring that passion and that love through every single thing that I do in life with photography in every interaction. It's one of those things where it's like, it's very cliche, but I'm really trying to live every day like it's my last. And it's kind of a beautiful way of living. It really is. It makes you appreciate the little things so much more. Um, yeah, I definitely, I don't know. I hope that I can inspire others to just keep on keeping on. You know, to just find their joy, whatever it is for them. We have one life to live, and until you stare down death in the face, it's really hard to understand that. But I have many times, and it has made me a better person.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yes, and I love the picture that you captured of me at the charity event when I'm meeting Nicole, the founder of Love Inspiring Life Foundation, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
actually there. I'm shaking her hand because there was a moment I met Nicole, and you captured that moment on camera, and it just looks like such a good capture that you did. And I would love to share that on my Instagram and tag you so others can see like
Yeah.
the beautiful picture that you captured of me meeting the founder of the organization nonprofit that
Thank you. I
helps
appreciate
women.
and I appreciate all the work that you guys do as well. I mean, it's incredible. So
Oh,
thank
thank you so
you.
much. Well, it was so great talking with you, and I can't wait to see all the beautiful pictures that you will share on your social media, and amazing work that you're doing to capture these beautiful moments that people can remember for the rest of their life.